again, my little yarnivores and spiderettes. Fiber Spider back again with the continuation, part 3 of the Baker's Dozen Filet Shawl, and we are on row 22. So let's hop right in, shall we? Got a lot of repetition. That's easy to do for this row, so gonna take it easy on you. Going to start off by chaining up 3 and turning the work. 2 doubles into that first stitch. There we are. And then double into the next 2 stitches so that we have a total of 5 at the end here. So double and then double. All right, so we've got a grouping of 5. For the rest of it, though, it's eyelets and groupings of 7. So I'm going to start by chaining 1, skip a stitch, double into the next 3 times so that we have a total of 3 eyelets. And then double into the next 6 stitches for a total of 7. And that is, in essence, the repeat for the rest of this row. With the exception, of course, at the very end, where we do our increase and have a grouping of 5, which I will meet back up with you to do that. But let's just do this a little bit first. So I've already got 5. I need 2 more. 6 and 7. There we are. Then another grouping of 3 eyelets. Chain 1, skip a stitch, double into the next. Chain 1, skip a stitch, double into the next. Chain 1, skip a stitch, double into the next. So we have our grouping of 3 eyelets. Double into the next 6 stitches for a total of 7. Okay, already got 5. Yes, 5. 2 more. 6 and 7. And then, yep, another grouping of 3 eyelets. So chain 1, skip a stitch, double into the next. Chain 1, skip a stitch, double into the next. Chain 1, skip a stitch, double into the next. And then you would do another 6 more stitches for another grouping of 7. So that's really all there is to it for the remainder of this row. Groupings of 7, separated by 3 eyelets, and I will meet back up with you near the end of the row. I'll see you in a bit. Okay, so I've been tooling along, almost done with row 22. Remember, we started with a grouping of 5, then we did our 3 eyelets, 7, 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 and we're going to end with 3 eyelets and a grouping of 5 because we started with a grouping of 5. Symmetry, symmetry, symmetry. So, chain 1, skip a stitch, double into the next 3 times. And 1 more. Okay, so we already have 1. Then double into the next, and in that 3rd stitch, 3 doubles, so that we have a total of 5. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. So 1, and almost had the 2. 2, and 3. There we go. So that is the end of row 22. Okay, row 23. Well, we're going to be covering over our existing circles and building these out to create new ones. So let's get to it. Going to start off, of course, with my chaining up of 3, turn the work, 2 doubles into that first stitch, and then double into each of the next 2 stitches for a total of 5. There we go. Then chain 1, skip a stitch, and double into the next 7 stitches. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Chain 1, skip a stitch, and then double into the next 15 to cover over our previous circle. Sorry, my yarn is being difficult with me. There we go. That should do. All right, so I've got the 1. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. Chain 1, skip a stitch, and double into the next 7. And that's really all there is to it for this row. The numbers have changed, but the premise is the same. Okay, already got 4, 5, 6, and 7. Then you would chain 1, skip a stitch, and double into the next 15. So it's basically 7s and 15s for the rest of the row, etc., etc. And then I'm going to meet back up with you so that we can finish this row together because the end is a little bit different. But it's 7, 15, 7. This will be 15. This will be 7, etc., etc. So I'm going to work my way across, and I will catch up with you near the end of the row. See you shortly. Okay, so almost done with row 23. I still need to do a grouping of 7 and then my ending grouping of 5. So, chain 1, skip a stitch, double into the next 7. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Then, to finish off, chain 1, skip a stitch, double into the next 2 stitches, and then 3 into the last one so that we have that increase at the end. So I've already got the 2, just need the 3 in the last stitch, and we will be good to go. Okay, there you are. So, as per usual, we've got 5, 7, 15, 7, 15, 7, 15, 7, and 5 at the end. And that's it for row 23. Row 24. It's going to be really easy. You guys are going to thank me. Start off by chaining up 3. Turn the work. 2 doubles into the first stitch. I'll get there. There we are. And then double into each of the next 2 stitches for a total of 5. And then, my dears, it is a matter of just doing groups of 11 all the way across. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. So let's do an eyelet first. Chain 1, skip a stitch, double into the next, and 10 more for a total of 11. So I already got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. Then chain 1, skip a stitch, double into the next, and 10 more for another grouping of 11. And that's really all there is to it for this row. Just groupings of 11 separated by eyelets, our little chain 1 spaces of joy. And then we will, finish up the row with symmetry, ending with 5. And I will meet back up with you so that we can do that. But in between now and then, it's just groupings of 11 separated by the eyelets. You got this. I know you got this. I'll see you shortly. Okay, so almost done with row 24. We have our grouping of 5 here, and then eyelet 11, eyelet 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, and, well, the tail end. So let's do that together, shall we? Just need to do another eyelet. Chain 1, skip a stitch, double into the next, double into the next again, and then in the very last stitch, 3 doubles for the total of 5. We need that increase. One, and 2, and one more. 3. So we've got our total of 5 at the end here. Awesome sauce. Okay, so onwards and upwards to row 25. Row 25. Okay, now row 25, it's very similar to what we did down here, where we had a bar of eyelets connecting circles, and we started off with a string of eyelets. So that's what we're going to do for row 25. Let me just get myself situated here. Okay, So I'm going to start off with a chaining of 4 so that we can start that string of eyelets. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, and turn the work, double into the first stitch to create an eyelet right out of the gate. There we go. And then chain 1, skip a stitch, double into the next, chain 1, skip a stitch, double into the next, and chain 1, skip a stitch, double into the next. So you start off with 4 eyelets. Then we're going to work our way across this circle. So I need another 10 more doubles for a total of 11. So I've got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. Okay, and then to bridge the gap, we need 7 eyelets at this point. So chain 1, skip a stitch, double into the next, 7 times total. So we've got the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 1 more. Chain 1, skip a stitch, double into the next, for the total of 7 eyelets, all in a pretty little row. Then we have to go across this circle, so that's going to be another total of 11. I already did the 1. I need 10 more for the 11. And that is how the rest of this row is going to go. Groupings of 11 doubles separated by 7 eyelets in succession. So I've already got 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 1 more makes 11. So then at this point, I would again do 7 eyelets, and then 11 doubles, 7 eyelets, 11 doubles, etc. And I'm going to keep on keeping on off camera, and I will do a recap with you and finish up at the end. I'll see you shortly. Alrighty, as per usual, almost done with the row, but I like to do a recap. We started with our 4 eyelets, then 11 doubles, 7 eyelets, 11, 7, 11, 7, 11, and then I just need to finish up with 4 eyelets at the end. There we go. So, chain 1, skip a stitch, double into the next, chain 1, skip 1, double, chain 1, skip 1, double into that last stitch, we still need that fourth eyelet, so chain 1 and double into that same last stitch, so that we finish with 4 eyelets just as we began. All right, and that is the end of row 25. Row 26, again, we have ourselves another treat. It's very, very simple. So, going to start off by chaining up 3 and turning the work, 2 doubles into that first stitch, and then double into the next 6 stitches so that we've got a total of 9. So I've already got my 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Now it's the beginning and end that is the only different thing. Otherwise, we've got 11s. Yes. So chain 1, skip a stitch, and then double into the next 11. And that's really it for this row. It's just groupings of 11 separated by chain 1 spaces all the way across, with the exception, of course, at the very end where we need to do our grouping of 9, which, yeah, I'm going to recap with you. I like touching base with you guys. What can I say? I may hop around like a bit of a leapfrog, but I do like to be thorough in my way. You know, it's this perpetual delicate balance of being thorough, yet not being redundant. It can be tricky, but I do try. So this should be 11 at this point. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yep, okay. So then again, chain 1, skip a stitch, double into the next 11, and so on and so forth. And just keep at it. And so I'm going to work the rest of this row off camera and meet back up with you for the finishing edge on the end there. Okay, so I will see you in just a momentito. 1 second. Okay, so as per usual, row 26 is almost done. We started with 9, and then we split up our groupings of 11 by eyelets. So, yeah, just 11, 11, 11, and so on and so forth, all 11s until, well, we're at the very end here. So, let's finish it up together with a grouping of 9. Just need that eyelet in place. Chain 1, skip a stitch, double into the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 goes into that chain space, and then 3 go into the very last stitch, 3rd chain from the bottom, 3 doubles, so that we'll have 9 on this end as well as the first beginning edge. And I will get there. And one more. Ta-da! Okay, so that is 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9. Perfect. All right, that is the end of row 26. Row 27. Okay, row 27, it is 7s and 15s, but we still have to do the beginning and end a little bit differently as per usual. Start off by chaining up 3 and 2 doubles into that first stitch. Okay, so we've got 3. Then we need to do doubles in the next 10 stitches for a total of 13. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, plus the original 3 that we started with. We've got 13 to start with. Then we're going to shrink this circle down. So chain 1, skip a stitch, double into the next 7. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Thank you. Okay, and then another eyelet. So chain 1, skip a stitch, double into the next, and 14 more for a total of 15. Like I said, it's 15s and 7s for this particular row. Just alternating back and forth between 7 and 15, separated by chain 1 spaces, and then at the end, yep, you guessed it, we're going to recap. I like touching base with you guys. Almost done with this grouping here, so we'll keep going. And then, believe it or not, we are almost done. We just have one more row, one more pattern repeat row after this. And then you guys can fly free and high, because that's it. Okay, so we have probably, 13 now, right? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 13. I need 2 more. That's 14, and here is 15. Then chain 1, skip a stitch, double in the next 7. We just did a 15, so it's back to 7s. Almost, almost, almost. There we go. Got my 4, 5, 6, and 7. And then I would do my chain 1, skip a stitch, double into the next, and 14 more for a total of 15 to go across this area here, and back forth between 7, 15, 7, 15, 7, 15, until we reach the very end of the row, which I will meet back up with you for. Okay? I'll see you in a bit. Okay, so to finish up row 27, as per usual, we started with a total of 13 at the beginning. Then we have 7, 15, 7, 15, 7, 15, 7, and then, well, we're at the end, so we have to finish with 13 because we started with 13. So, chain 1, skip a stitch, double into the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then, last but not least, into that last stitch, 3 doubles so that we can have our 13 at this end as well. Okay, that's 1, 2, and 3. Voila. All right, that is the end of row 27. Got one more to go, peoples. One more. Da-da-da-da-da! Row 28. This is the last row of the repeat. Congratulations. Let's get to it. All right. So for row 28, we need to seal up the tops of previous circles and create the bottoms of new ones. So start off by chaining up 3, turning the work, 2 doubles into that first stitch, and then double into the next 2 stitches. So we've got 3, double into the next to make 4, and into the next to make 5. All right, and then along here, we're going to start some new eyelets. So chain 1, skip a stitch, double into the next 3 times. Okay, so we've got 2, 1 more. And our 3rd eyelet. Okay, then double into the next 6 stitches for a total of 7. So I've got 3. Almost had it. 4. 5. 6, and 1 more makes 7. Okay, and then scooch your way across with 3 more eyelets. Chain 1, skip a stitch, double into the next 3 times. Excusez-moi. Okay, we've got 2, then 1 more. There we go. Double into the next 6 stitches for a total of 7. And so on and so forth for the rest of this row. Very straightforward. So I've already got 4, 5, 6, and 7. Chain 1, skip a stitch, double into the next 3 times. There we go. And that's all you have to do for the remainder of this row, finishing up the old circles and starting the bottoms of new ones. 3 eyelets, 7 doubles. 3 eyelets, 7 doubles, etc., etc. So I'm going to work my way across, meet back up with you so that we can finish up the end, and I will see you shortly. Okay. Okay, final recap. So we started with 5, then we had 3 eyelets, 7, 3, 7, 3, all the way across, 7 stitches separated by 3 eyelets each time. Then approaching the final home stretch, I have my 7 here, right? Well, still need to do a 3 set of eyelets, so that's 1 and 2 and 3, double into the next, and then 3 doubles into the very last stitch. And that, my dears, is the full repeat for what you need to do for the rest of your shawl. Let me just scooch in here, get these 3 stitches. And one more. And there we go. Yep. So all you have to do is just repeat rows 17 through 28 until your piece is big enough. Now, there is an alternative way of finishing off your piece, which I'm going to describe to you. Basically, if you want a solid edge as opposed to one with these lacy bits, you know, the eyelets at the edge here, what you can alternatively do, which I did for my demo piece here, is for the following row, the last row, after completing a repeat of rows 17 through 28, the next row, do your usual chaining up of 3, 2 doubles into that same stitch, and then quite simply just do a double crochet stitch all the way across for a nice clean edge. You know, that's one of many ways in which you could finish up your project. Totally up to you. Just, you know, a little suggestion. And there you go. Alrighty, my dears. So that's going to conclude today's video series on the Baker's Dozen Filet Shawl. Want to thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that you liked it. And a big thank you to my testers for helping to make this pattern possible. Link in the description box down below, as always. And of course, all of the timestamps, because getting, you know, from rows 17 through 28, well, you know, I understand it's a little bit daunting, but that's why I put the timestamps in there for you guys. So, again, thank you so much. And you know what to do until next time, right? I want all of you to stay inspired, stay caffeinated, stay stitching, and please, stay safe. Take care of yourselves and each other, and I will see you in my next video. Bye for now, everybody, and have a good day.